for sharing your experiences. Now it's open house discussion. Friends, since there were participants from all across the country, the session was in English. Now we can ask in any language, right? The friends, ನೀವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಹಿಂದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ತಮಿಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ತೆಲುಗಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ವಿನಿಯಂಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಡಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಭಾಷೆ ಕಂಫರ್ಟಬಲ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿ. ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ ಗುಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆ ಬಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಓಕೆ, ಹಿಂದಿ ಓಕೆ, ತಮಿಳ್ ಓಕೆ, ತೆಲುಗು ಓಕೆ. So ask plain questions. I will reinstate the question or doubt, the point raised by Dr. Sasmal. I request the department officers to restructure their component of biofloc technology, because we cannot go with similar type of tanks with large numbers. It's good for 40 to 60 days in nursery phase. Definitely they have to be shifted to a larger tank. In order to get more production and productivity, we need to go for 6 to 8 or 10 meter dia tanks in growth phase, be it tilapia or shrimp, whatever it is. Same tank size cannot be imposed. Let us restructure and convince the decision makers. And now who wants to take the first question? Be precise, don't explain the question. Be precise, spashtavagi keli, and I'll ask the experts to comment. Don't everybody don't jump into answer the questions. Based on my request, kindly answer the questions. First questions, please. The floor is open now.
Good afternoon, sir.
Who is online?
This is Santosh Kumar from Urbanova.
Urbanova, Mr. Santosh Kumar, Dr. Shruti and Dr. Asha are the rapporteurs. They are taking down your questions. It will be sent to the right people. Okay, Santosh, please.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to ask question. And thank you to all the speakers who gave good presentation today. My question is, where do we get a full-fledged training of this particular technology if we have to study it deeply? And what would be the time frame for completing it with certification to get some kind of subsidy from the government of India?
Please take down Fisheries Research and Information Center, Hebbal, and Fisheries Research and Information Center, Esragatta. They're both linked. From both the centers are working under Karnataka Veterinary Animal and Fisheries Sciences University. Both are at Hebbal. If somebody from coastal region, they can contact College of Fisheries. Already I mentioned in the chat box. Under Smart City program, there's a skill development in Fisheries and Safety Training Center, where Dr. Ramachandra Nayak is the nodal officer, and Dr. Kumar Nayak is also there as one of the nodal officers. They impart training on all facets of fisheries and aquaculture, ranging from general aquaculture, ornamental fish production, biofloc technology, RAS, aquarium making, scuba diving. There are 12 to 16 different components, and after 6 months, the entire institute is getting ready now. After 6 months, they will be ready. As of now, because of the pandemic, we are not in a position to take up the offline training program, though we are equipped or intended for the set training programs. That's why we are doing many of offline training programs. On 30th of this month, we are organizing one more training program on fish feed production. But for now, for training and certification, you may contact our institute, and the duration will be 3 days. If you want to have some more hands-on experience by learning, by doing, you can work with us by writing to the head of FRIC. I'm heading now, and Esragatta is headed by Dr. Manjappa. You can work with us. Still, if you want to work with commercial projects, we have one at Bidadi, one at Bomanal, Babasandra. You will contact them. we will refer you to the some of the commercial units. You can work with them. That's all. And I'm Dr. Shiv Kumar. You can my number and mail will be mentioned in the chat box. You can contact us for any of the fisheries and aquaculture training programs. And most of them are free of cost as of now. And soon, for the industrial scale of training programs, it will be charged. But we are discussing with the university. We have not yet decided the training cost. But as of now, free training programs are available for next 6 to 8 months. Good luck. Next question, please.
Thank you so much.
Sir, can farmers from Andhra Pradesh attend the training? Yes. Though the centers are designed to cater the needs of the Karnataka farmers, we don't restrict any of the farmers. Only thing is, your letter has to go.
So good afternoon, sir. Can I ask a question?
The conference.
Yes,
Good
yes,
afternoon,
yes.
sir. Can I ask
Okay,
a
I'll
question?
just answer this question. Mrs. Lata, please wait for a second. Let me
Yes, sir.
complete the one of the questions raised in the chat box. Anybody from any state can participate. Only thing is they have to write a letter through the competent authorities. If it is university, you have to write a letter to the director of extension. And if it is if the training programs organized by the Department of Fisheries, you have to write to the Director of Fisheries or Joint Director of Fisheries. Now, Director of Fisheries, Sri Ramacharya Puranik, has joined the session. Anything related to department schemes, you can raise the question. The competent authorities are there online. Mrs. Lata, please go ahead with your question.
So I have 3 questions. One is I've just been to the bank for the
Three.
in principle sanction letter. The bank manager refused to give one.
Yes.
So how do I include anything into the DPR? One. Second, how sustainable is it to go in for this aeration in the long run? Is there an alternative system wherein we can cut down on the electricity? So it will also be more sustainable mode and it will not impact the environment. Third one is, do we have to really go in for the modular thing? Because the last presentation, what I saw had a lot of subterranean kind of thing. And that was more viable because the water could be flushed out and it was far more easier to do it. So is there any restriction on the kind of thing we have to go in for?
We'll split all the 3 questions. Bank, we don't deal with the bank by providing the suitable records. Your repayment capacity, you have to prove yourself and take the bank loan. If you are funding on your own, there's a declaration form. If you declare that you are funding for the entire project, front-end support is also there. Second one, there is no shortcut in science. We need aeration through direct electrical DC current or AC current. We need aeration. There are alternatives to cut down the cost on electricity, like solar panels can be used. But when you are going for super intensive farming system, yes, through suitable IoT system, if the oxygen level is maintained beyond 6 mg per liter, you can cut off, switch on and switch off electronic management system. If you can maintain, you can reduce the number of hours of aeration. So this is what, because as of now in biofloc, 9 to 15 rupees cost of production comes from the aeration side. Aeration cost will be 9 to 15 rupees. So through IoT, it can be minimized. And third one, the question was not clear. See, already I said it in the introduction, the principles of aquaculture cannot be written in the indelible ink. Depending on your capacity, depending on your resource type, depending on your investment capacity, depending on your knowledge on management of science, you can choose one. So there is no one module for the entire state or the entire country. So let us know, you give us the details about your resources, we will customize the technology package.
Thank
So
you,
for
sir.
now,
Then one more thing.
Hello,
So you said the
madam.
biofloc on the
Madam, you are from
40-year-old
which place?
technique. So what was it? Because 40 years old, I don't think so they were using electricity intensively. So there'll be something else that they were using to make this more viable. So if we can get
Please,
the knowledge from the 40 years old thing, that would be very helpful, sir.
No, please reserve your question for
Madam,
now.
madam, may I know you are from which place?
So I'm from Bangalore,
I'm
but
Director of
my
Fisheries.
sorry,
Oh.
sir. Area of fisheries will be
Director of Fisheries
Korattere
is
and
speaking.
Ramnagar, sir.
Ramnagara. Okay,
We
okay.
have properties in two places. One is at Koratagere, Tumkur. Second
Yes,
one
sir.
at Ramnagar,
Yes, sir.
Kumurkod. Yes.
Kumlagot. So what is
Okay,
the 40
what
years knowledge that
what we
we're
are
missing
planning.
out?
1 second, madam. Director
One
wants to-
second. See, as far as if you want to avail bank loan, in fact, this year we have given all the unit cost to the state level bankers committee meeting, wherein they will inform to all the branches, so that this PMMSY will take off. Through anybody, if they want financial assistance, definitely we are here to help you. So let us know the bank branch manager, other details, so that we can definitely contact, and we'll raise this issue if they deny. Okay.
So bank
those-
manager is Kumlagot Birdi branch, Canara Bank. I just went
Okay,
there.
okay.
I also asked Ms. Shruti to speak to him, but he was not convinced and he refused to give me the letters.
That's what. See, it has to come, direction has to come from SLBC.
Okay.
Then only, see, because what happens, each component will have a definite unit cost. See, that has to be decided by state level bankers committee meeting. Once it is finalized, then these SLBC will inform to all the branch or different banks. Okay. So different banks will issue direction to all the branches. So once they come to know that there is a scheme, then definitely all the branch manager will be interested for the advance for any component under PMMSY. So if there is any problem, so let us definitely write to us. Definitely we'll help you.
So if we do a self-finance, how will I be supported later? Because I don't mind if I don't get a bank loan, because fishery was always in the mind. I'll definitely go in for self-financing. So what is the kind of support I'll be getting in future?
No, if you go for self-finance, definitely will not be, see, whatever financial assistance will be given, it will be given directly to your account. It goes to your account only.
Fine, sir.
Okay, okay. Friends,
Thank you so
Mrs. Lata, let us not anticipate the issue. Lead bank manager is one of the members in the district level committee. We are requesting all lead bank managers to support all the schemes approved by the DLC, district level committee. So there is nothing called bank issuing a letter now. If the district level committee approves your project, then you are entitled to get the bank loan if you need it. And they don't give any letter. For that, you have to give the required document, supporting documents, so that to prove your repayment capacity. That's all. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Questions?
Dr. Shikumar, I would like to tell you, already this state level committee has approved 3 lakhs rupees per unit. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it has been communicated to the banks also
Kisan trade
under Kisan credit card
for running cost.
for running cost. Okay.
Thank you, sir. So next question. I'll take 5 more questions and we are winding up the program.
Sir, Babin Mopana, DD Mandya.
Babin, please.
Sir, I would like to ask with Sasmal and Hitendra regarding probiotics, because we are not very sure about the water probiotics which are to be used and the temperature maintenance in the tanks. Is water temperature and air temperature requisite in these tanks?
For temperature, way back in 92 to 95, when I was handling 250 metric tons of water per day, we used to use induction water heaters. There are induction water heaters during the winter. The maximum temperature can be set and it can be maintained only during the winter season. Some people will go for polyhouses so that the greenhouse will maintain the temperature. Anyway, Dr. Sasmal, regarding temperature and the biofloc, share your comments. Probiotic, yes.
In case of temperature, temperature below 5 degree, even those places which temperature goes down below 5 degrees centigrade. In that case, polyhouse is the best option. Go for polyhouse culture.
Polyhouse, that's what.
Yes.
Okay, regarding probiotics, sir.
What you want to know probiotic?
Probiotic, what kind of a probiotic for fish? And since you said common carp,
In case of biofloc system, you can use heterotopic bacteria. You simply go for the component composition and CFLU value, colony forming unit, CFU values. You have to look about that.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Babin, there are plenty of probiotics available. We don't recommend the brands, but still, if you look at the approximate composition of these, one of the probiotics available, it is naturally occurring bacteria, enzymes, nutrients. Till the biofloc is set for the first time, please try to use the commercially available inoculum. Later, using our own colonies, we can maintain the required biofloc, that is golden brown color. But at least in the beginning, because we take the clear water for taking up the biofloc, we need some inoculum to establish the biofloc. Later, there are plenty of biofloc, but anyway, as Dr. Debtanu and Dr. Sasmal said, we have to take it from the competent companies approved by the competent authorities, because there are many gen players. You end up with poor production. But anyway,
best quality probiotics and others, you can also personally message me. No problem.
Yes.
Fine, sir. Can you share your number, sir? Thank you.
My number is 940 9406027
please put it in the chat box, Dr. Sasmal. Please put it in the chat box, and I'll share it with.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And
Okay.
there is a very interesting question from CVS Raju. I request Dr. Sinappa sir to answer this very complex thing, and Depton also can answer this.
One question, sir. Before that, somebody is asking to explain FCR in biofloc. Sai Tarun.
Dr. Sasmal and Dr. Deptano, what's your experiences with FCR?
Maybe during the FCR, we don't want like very high protein sources should be jumped into in our biofloc system, because we have always faced a problem. The commercial feed, what is there in India, there all are carb-based, protein-based feeds are available. Not exclusive biofloc feed is available. So what people do when they put Desi Magur, Pabda, Gulta Tengra, Singi, Vietnam Koi, they buy high protein source of protein. Say 40%, 42%, 36%, 38% protein. But maintaining water quality in such period of time is create lots of issues of ammonia, which later on leads to the different kind of tail rot, fin rot, and many kind of diseases. So my suggestions and what we prescribe also in our farmers, grow with some weaning type of mechanism, say grow with say 32% protein or 34% protein in the beginning for 1 month, say 45 days or 60 days, then go down, say 30% to 28%. And we have even complete the cycle in 4 months or 5 months with 26% protein. If we can do this kind of mechanism, we can able to reduce our FCR, food conversion ratio, like how much feed we are giving, how much biomass we are getting in a ratio of 1.2 to 1.3 with a commercial feed what is available in our system with a high density protocol.
Thank you, Varman. One more thing, you have to produce live feed, that is Azolla culture, yeah, spirulina. It will reduce your input cost 100%.
Yes.
30 to 40% we are using live feed in biofloc also. Then our main motto should be anyhow cut down the production cost, input cost. Then it will be profitable. my 100% humble request, you have to produce Azolla, spirulina, separate tanks, and that is very, very, very cheap to produce these kind of live feed. And that will 100% reduce your production cost and reduce the FCR. In case of Desi Magur, Gulsa, Tengra, Pabda, Singi, we have achieved below 1 FCR. For your kind information.
Anyway, for the carnivorous fishes like Pabda, Koi, you may get the better FCR around 1 to 1.1. For nibblers and omnivorous, anything below 1.2 is good. Some people have attained even 1.5 FCR, but that cannot be generalized. But anything below 1.2, because in normal culture, the FCR will be more than 1.4. By choosing a right probiotic, by maintaining a good flock, right water quality, definitely we can reduce the FCR by 0.2 to 0.3. That will be very good trade-off. So someone has asked in the chat box whether cutlass farm can be done with biofloc system. I request Dr. Sinappa to answer this. Yes, sir, but I want more technical justification. Answer is yes. Sir, please. Friends, already I told you there will be 4 to 5 trophic levels in the food chain, and the primary production, the primary producers will produce more food. In the bottom of the pyramid, if you produce 1000 kilocalories of value, kilocalories of energy, 1 kg will reach the top. So the beauty of biofloc is to harvest 60 to 70% of the food which goes out of the system unharvested. Carbon and nitrogen ratio, they can be flocculated. They themselves will act as feed particle. That's how we can increase the production. Definitely, larval rearing is the best method. Biofloc will work best at larval rearing phase, early part of the fish growth. Answer is yes. And Dr. Sinappa sir, hello, please call Dr. Sinappa. Okay, any other questions, please?
Hi, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, please hold on, Ms. Daman from Shillong.
Yeah.
I want to hear from Dr. Zillur Rahman from Bangladesh.
Sure.
Please, sir. Sorry, Dr. Zillur Rahman ji. I was not seeing you on the main screen, so I missed out. I'm sorry. Please share your thoughts. Dr. Zillur, please unmute yourself and say something.
Everybody can hear me?
Yes, yes, please.
This is Zillur Rahman. Thanks, Dr. Shiv Kumar sir, for giving the opportunity to say something as well as to learn something on biofloc. Especially from the very beginning, I came to know all the experience resource person, you also, last 7-6 sessions, which will be very helpful to me. In general, we are in Bangladesh practicing biofloc as well as last 2 or 3 years. We are facing similar problem. Now it is working well, but we need the sustainability of the project. For the sustainability of the project, from last 2 year experience, I came to know there should some recommendation like you need to reduce the cost in case of setup, initial setup for biofloc setup. Suppose we are establishing now biofloc in earthen pond with mud bag, which will reduce ultimately 50% cost. And also Another, we just started to link the biofloc project nursing as well as pre-grow out and grow out. There is minimum 3 stages, which ultimately reduce the cost of fry or fingerling production, as well as reduce we have many scope. If the marketing size we cannot get the proper price, then we can stop or extend our culture period to 3 month extra time if we have scope to nursing pre-grow out or grow out or fattening tank. So we are just practicing to establish it in sustainable aspect. And another thing, we are just last 2 years, I am now working with 2 commercial projects, and we are maintaining all the system, link nursery, grow out, fattening tank, like that. And also there should cash flow every 2 or 3 months. If we have all types of tank, nursing, grading, and every 2 months we can you can see. Also another problem is good quality fingerling problem. And suppose the farmer who are related to biofloc, they cannot identify where the good source of fry or fingerling available. So they should link us with the good quality hatchery, and they can source by or identify the quality feed, fry or fingerling. That is also important. I think in the last Ethan wrote the presentation, he mentioned the commercial biofloc project. The biofloc project should sustain. This is, but you should reduce as the current is not available. Electricity is the one, but still costing is high. And also in Bangladesh, there is a problem. We have huge hilsa production. We have huge natural fish production. So farmers are not getting the proper price. In COVID situation, last 2 years, we have huge production. Now all the hatcheries, they have huge fry fingerling, but they cannot sell. As the farmer, they have huge volume of fish now available for marketing, but they cannot sell. There is marketing problem, price of fish as well as very less. If they have, the biofloc farmer have many scope like fattening tank, they can keep the fish when it is not sellable for 2 or 3 months. So to make profitable biofloc is now still we have to work. Still we have to work. In future, the people who can integrate all the approach when the fish price, food fish price is not up to the mark or very less, they can select when the fish price in Bangladesh is very high. Like in November, like in March, April, fish price is price is very high. So there should have marketing plan also when the fish price is very high. So all the points should consider to make biofloc sustainable. Now we are technically viable that we can do biofloc. So in future, there should consider all the things, link nursery, reduce cost in every step, like FCR reduce, tank setup reduce, and others. When the market price is very high, farmer should plan. And also the fish should branding. As it is organic fish, it should be live marketing system. It should be extra branding that this feed is not harmful, or this feed is very tasty than normal farming fish. And still biofloc farm in Bangladesh, skilled manpower is not available now. Suppose Deptonuda mentioned this is Android version. the biofloc farmers who are ready to invest, they are basically new generation who even do not know how fish should culture. Some people who are investing in the garments industry people, they just want production, but they do not know fish. So first of all, they should learn what is fish biology, fish farming system. Then you should go Android version system, not landphone version system. So still skilled manpower. Suppose I'm offering consultancy to 3 big company, but I do not have skilled worker who can manage a unique biofarm farm, including water quality system, nursing system, grading system, water quality parameter controlling. Even in biofloc, there is a 3 combination. One is aquaculture technology, engineering portion, tarpaulin, pipe fitting, water flow system. Another thing is culture system. You have to know culture system. Another is good quality fry fingerling, and also marketing strategy. All points you should consider to sustain the biofloc system. Basically in Bangladesh, we have huge production. We are now in Hillsha production world #1. We are in tilapia culture 4th, only 80-70 taka kg tilapia. I can make biofloc technically viable, but financially you can run it's just fashion for one cycle. When it is not profitable for second cycle, you could not continue. So as well as we should emphasis fry fingerling sourcing, nursing, and grading system. Also, and the market price of fish very high. Also, the value addition processed or live fish marketing. So we should consider all the things to make it sustainable in future, especially biofloc. Basically, I am working as a consultant of tilapia brood development and hatchery management. But last 2 years, as in our country, people are interested to establish biofloc. I'm also now learner, trying to learn, and as well as trying to establish 2 or 3 commercial biofloc projects. Hopefully, I can do with the experience from you, the guy, especially India, you the guy leading the biofloc in this area. It will also help me to establish a biofloc commercially in Bangladesh. So this is from my side. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Sir.
I'll take one last question from Daman from Shillong. Daman, please go ahead. You're waiting since 15 minutes. Daman, are you there? Yeah.
Hi, sir. Yeah.
Please.
First and foremost, thank you so much. I'm Daman Lindem, and I'm from Shillong, Meghalaya.
Okay.
A neighboring, in fact, Bangladesh is this, we share the same border.
Okay.
Bangladesh. Yes, sir. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And then, I cannot, I would have not known about this if our Dr. Devtanu Burman had not mentioned about it. So I'll just give you a background. So I work, I'm the advisor for a village here, where it's a cluster of villages. It comprises 18 villages, sir. So where we are talking about a population of not less than 2,799 people. So, and when, now, since this is my first time that I'm actually listening to after reading your, the notes that you gave me, sir, the other day, I find them very interesting. I also interacted with the department here, but then they found that this technology is high, it needs professional guidance and training. So which exactly what Mr. Rahman had already mentioned, that skilling people, how do we give them training? Because you're giving them to the lowest of the pyramid here, sir. You're talking about the actual, because our aim is to generate livelihood, improve livelihood, especially of the women, sir. So here it seems highly specialized, the work. So how, so with the help of Tanu, we want that in the days to come, sir, that we can conduct such trainings here in Shillong, Meghalaya, with all your blessings and all your help.
Thank you. We are with you, Daman. And,
Yes, sir.
So the many technologies have been developed in different contexts. The TV was invented in 1957, but we could see TV in 1980s. It depends on all the political, economical situation, purchasing power, education, knowledge base of the country, state. So things are getting better. We are well connected because of the net. Knowledge, with shared knowledge, definitely we can progress. But my only bottom line is, if they can win, we can also win, because the principles of science is said very well. So we need to identify the risk factors. We need to identify the protective factors. Some of the factors which are always associated with the success. Identify those factors which are always associated with the success. Try to emulate that. Definitely we will succeed. I always say we cannot mix the technological issue with economics, economical issue with the engineering issue. We have to separate them out, understand them, and later, as Mr. Ramesh written in the chat box, we have to have our own package. Definitely a combination of arrays, combination of biofloc, something from the field, a right combination of clear water technology. We have to come out with our own package so that we can produce the fish at a reasonably lower price. Because at any situation, it cannot match with the cost of fish which is produced in the reservoir or river, because they're only catching from the nature. So we have to, because aquaponics is also not economically viable, but still whole world is promoting it. So it is, if we can come out with forward linkage, if we can identify new customer base, if we can develop a good cold chain, definitely, because this offers life is sale, disease free, fillet, all that we have to harness the latest technologies and for near market. Now we are closing the open house session. No, Sinappa sir, open house session. Now I request Dr. Sinappa sir to summarize the entire session and give us the take-home message. The house is open for Dr. Sinappa, Senior Aquaculture Consultant. Sir, please.
Good afternoon. It's a wonderful session. And at the outset, I really like to thank the organizer, Dr. Magadha, and from the team of FRIC, EBAL, and also KVFSUB, the university, and also the Department of Fisheries. It was a wonderful session so far we had. And this is second in the series, probably, if I remember correctly. And the session was very well focused and very interesting too. The session was set with a nice platform by the statement of our Director of Fisheries, so Government of Karnataka, wherein he highlighted the importance of fisheries in the state and the importance of aquaculture to take forward our aquaculture production to the new heights, and also the emergence of the new technology, how best we can harness this new technology in order to reach our targets of fish production. Later on, our Dean from College of Fisheries, Dr. Senthilvel, he highlighted on the situation wherein how far this new technology can be explored, and he is also interested to put up some of the recommendations of this document, our webinar, in the blue economy, which he is preparing and is almost in the verge of completion. Then Mr. Dinesh Kaler, the Joint Director of Inland Fisheries, made very emphatically that the technologies, especially the emerging technologies like the biofloc or the RAs and all that, which have got high potential for enhancing the production, aquaculture production, need to be emphasized, need to be supported, but of course with appropriate backward and forward support system. This one thing where there is a big gap, because though they have sanctioned the project, the uptake still is hardly about 50%. Now, I think with this background, wherein the necessity of this new technology, the importance of this biofloc technology has been very well felt, both at the state level, and as a result, now we see a big program under PMSSY in the national scheme, and wherein great support has been extended for this. In the technical session altogether, we had totally 8 presentations, and each of the presentations were very good. They were all giving insight to the technology, sharing of experiences, sharing of learnings. And in each of these, they highlighted the challenges, the scope, and the new opportunities. I think this has really given a nice information for all the stakeholders working at different levels, be it at the policymakers, or at the R&D level, or at the farmers, or the entrepreneurs, or the stakeholders in the farmer input suppliers and all that. So when we really get into the, just to give a sort of an highlights of each talk, each presentation, Magad was very emphatic. He gave a very nice platform setting in terms of giving the overview. But one thing what we have to remember is the technology, though evolved in 1980, of course, the technology was much before it was there, but in a different format. But the real format, the framework has been given in 1980. And commercialization started taking place in 2002 in various parts of the world, different countries. But when you talk in terms of status in India, you know, like we have been now talking about the technology, means to say from evolving of the technology to the process of commercialization, it has literally taken something like 20 years. Later on from commercialization, at least now for adoption at different states, it has come down to taken about another 20 years. But thank God, but with a good understanding of the knowledge, the technology, good experience of our people, I think we are in a position to now take forward, identify the gaps, do the SWOT analysis of the whole thing, identify exactly what are all the gap areas which needs to be addressed. So the challenges are known before us, and each of these challenges have been highlighted by everyone. And so the basic highlights of this talk was to know about where the technology stands now and what are the various needs in terms of R&D, in terms of policy, in terms of market support, infrastructure. And Dr. Vishwanath was the second speaker who highlighted on the present PMSSY scheme, detailing on the various schemes that have been put forward. Altogether, about 5 subcomponents, right from taking up this biofloc in 0.1 hectare to the tanks system, which have got either 7 tanks, 25 tanks, or 50 tanks. So it means to say the PMSS, this is one of the priorities component in the PMSSY, wherein there is vast scope for our entrepreneurs, the farmers to make use of this scheme opportunity. But of course, he was also highlighting while making the presentation, the existing gaps in terms of the lack of knowledge support or information support or technology support on one side, and the professional approach, the need for the professional approach. And further, he was also explaining the economic viability of the thing that needs to be demonstrated and availability of the inputs and all that inputs, both in terms of seed, feed, accessories, healthcare products and all that, and positioning of the good supply chain and marketing aspect need to be. This is exactly the information later on. So various other speakers, they are talking about it and highlighting on this. Our next speaker, Mr. Dr. Deban Burman, who is a consultant, because we had a great opportunity to hear from the consultants, wherein they have given the real field experiences, their practical experiences, hands-on experiences on this biofloc and all that. And they were also he was also emphasizing very clearly that training is the key, and getting good consultancy support from experts who are really capable of providing hand-holding support, I think is very, very important. And of course, it has to be supported with the market and the ground level support. And he was also very good in making certain of the thing wherein how best we can use the entrepreneurial opportunities of this particular system. So though we are all talking most of the time about the production technology, but he has really explored, he has really opened out the new avenues as an entrepreneurial opportunity, right from extension service to the rental of the blocks and input of supply chain, market linkages program, then opportunities of polyculture, ornamental culture, seed bank, things like that, including linking to the aquaponic. Means to say how multiple activities can be integrated, how this whole biofloc can be looked from an integrated approach or from a comprehensive approach so that the profitability of the farmer can be enhanced, and how entrepreneurs can join in this particular thing to make things easy so that technology adoption will be very easy. Dr. Sasmal, from a consultant from Chhattisgarh, he was very nicely explaining about the specification part, how important. It's not just macro level of technology, it is the micro level of understanding the specification of each and every component, right from biofloc management to the equipments we use, the accessories we use, and all that, all the specification part of it. Then the importance of grading at different levels. This is one of the important points that has to be emphasized here. So, and also a need for a continuous consultancy support. The challenge when he was explaining is definitely that training is one of the important challenge that needs to be really addressed, and quality supply of the seed is very important. Then when we talk about the another consultant, Mr. Ramesh, Dr. Ramesh, who made a presentation on shared his experience related to biofloc, one of the things is water as an input. He has really highlighted how important this technology when we consider water as an input, and he has given a brief idea about what are the do's and don'ts of this biofloc farming, especially in terms of its promotion, commercialization, and scaling up of the thing. So he was also explaining about the various concepts, especially the importance of aeration, the open system and the closed system, and also in terms of the size of the tank and all that. All these were very neatly explained from his experiences. Then we had a presentation from Eric, who shared his experience in Kenya, what is the present status of this biofloc farming, where they are, how they are using this technology for seed rearing and also for fish, the live food production. Then we had a presentation from the company that is Rishi Fabric Solution by Sadhu Paul, who was explaining that how this various equipment, like the pond liners and all that are being produced, how it can be made use of in the biofloc technology. So as a result now, we have a clearly good idea from the different stakeholders, right from policymakers to everyone. Then later on, in the presentation of Hitendra, which was very, very meaningful, he shared his experiences of the autotrophic and heterotrophic combination of all these things, and how this tilapia cultivation, Pangasius shrimp farming, and off late the scampi farming is being taken up in his biofloc unit. So, but one thing what really I admire is the last speaker, Mr. Jilbur Rahman. Oh, he gave a beautiful account of this real stuff, what needs to be done, what is beyond technology. The what is beyond technology is where the success, the sustainability, the profitability of the whole thing lies on. So from my own observation, what I want, the following thing. Number one, the future of many states in the country is mainly depends on aquaculture. We had to accept because fisheries is almost coming to a stagnancy. Whereas the middle income farmers are the key stakeholders of us in the form of the producer. Now, definitely this biofloc technology has come out, has emerged out as a new frontier domain. And there is need to make best use of this new opportunity. I think we all agree with this. And this is one of the message that we all have to carry. The next message is, we also know from based on the deliberations, the presentations and discussions what we had, there is huge scope and opportunity both for enhancing the production, farmers' income and employment and etc. So that means to say this has got a good opportunity where we are now. So now right at the moment, the success of this venture is in metamorphosis sort, but means to say there is a need for clear understanding of the present weaknesses, address key challenges. This exactly the last speaker was highlighting about it. There is definitely uncertainties in the farming operations, which we know because most of our entrepreneurs are the farmers, are new entrant to this activity. Then pursuing a roping of the farmers' entrepreneurs definitely needs prior experience and expertise. This is what has been endorsed by many of the people, wherein because of the new technology, because of the precision nature of this, the integrity of this technology, understanding of the technology is very, very important. Not only just knowledge, it is the experience and expertise is very much important. So that forms the key. So what is happening is most are entering in based on conceptual knowledge, not based on ground reality, knowledge and the required skill. So influence of infinite media, one of the speakers was also very clearly mentioning virtual platforms like YouTube's and all that, they lured it, but definitely they do not take to the successful destination. So I think that we need to keep it in mind. So we need to take it up on the principles of commerce, because this is a commercial aquaculture, not as an hobby, as an activity. So here, what counts is, it's not just only the productivity and production on one side, it is the cost of production, the gate value, the return on investment, and this governs further continuity and sustainability of the activity. This is what our last speaker has told very clearly. Then most of the time what is happening in our state is, most of the time people take it up because it is scheme driven rather than relevance based on potentials, because we still do not assess the potential, but if we venture into the activity, I think this is one thing what we really have to address. So hence, challenge is for us, in front of us, is to enhance the commercial scale operations, scaling up of the activity. I think that is the way we can bring down the cost of operation, we can enhance the profitability, we can bring the success to this venture, we can bring more private investment to we can bring more people into the activity. So it means to say, though it looks, the whole process looks complex, it looks an end-to-end approach related to production system, technology support services, market related, programs, schemes related, and policy related. But definitely it is not an impossible challenge. We need to think in this direction in a holistic way. I'm sure this webinar has provided a nice platform for all our the relevant stakeholders who are attending, and also to a high opener for our policymaker how to take it forward, to know about the technology, to take further the technology on a strong footing and a sustainable manner. I think this is my general comments. Of course, I also have specific comment, but I don't know how far the time permits. But each one of this, how to address the roadmap and all that, maybe we can talk in the later phase. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We are documenting each and every statement of yours, and we will put it in a black and white and send it to the right people for better decision making. I see Dr. C.K. Murthy on board online. Dr. C.K. Murthy is a former joint director, and he was also executive director of NFDB for 4 years. Sir, your comments, please. Sir, are you there?
Shivakumar,
Yes, sir.
I don't think I will add anything right now. I have heard Dr. Sinappa elaborating everything, every point included. But I would like to add a couple of points which I will discuss with you personally. It is not for the open committee, because some of the future directions I would like to have, and some of the concepts what being shared also has to be, we need to really look into critically. So that I will discuss with you personally.
Yes,
thank
sir,
you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. As I said, we have to have a right combination of RAS, BFT, and such other advanced technologies in order to minimize the technology. So in the chat box, I see a comment, many comments. Some are camouflaging the, are misusing the terminologies. So we have to come out with all such clarifications. Definitely all the queries which are there in the chat box are taken down, and issues raised by the experts and others will deliberate it in detail, and we will categorize them under different sessions like managerial issues, technical issues, policy issues, and we will come back to you, and we will be sending you the proceedings very soon. And on 30th of this month, we are organizing one more webinar on fish seed production, because this is the right time. Next 3 to 4 months is the seed production time. And Dr. K.B. Rajanna and Dr. Manjappa will be coordinating that. And I request all the participants who are there in this webinar to take part in that. And definitely we will try to connect the right people to enhance fish seed production and survival percentage of different fish seeds. On 30th at the same time, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We will update you more details through social media and through other means, and kindly participate. I thank all the participants. And now I thank Dr. Sinappa, Dr. C.K. Murthy, senior professionals, and I also thank Sri Ramacharya Puranik, Director of Fisheries, Department of Fisheries, Government of Karnataka, Dr. Senthil Vel, Dean, College of Fisheries, Mangalore, Mr. Vishwanath, Deputy Director of Fisheries, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Kaller, Joint Director, and all the fisheries officers and my own team. I thank all my team for making this event very successful. Please, Harsha, please come stand behind me so that everybody can see your faces. I always say, everybody will see the flag. People don't see the flag post. These are all the flag posts. Dr. Harsha, Dr. Rajanna. In fact, Dr. Rajanna has been instrumental in establishing a biofloc system at FRIC because I joined this unit very recently. I see Dr. Manjappa, who is Associate Professor and Head of FRIC, Esraghatta. These two are organizing a fish seed production webinar on 30th, and Dr. Harsha, Dr. Ravindra Gowda Patil, who is expert in live fish food production, Dr. Shruti, who is working on one of the major projects at our unit, Mr. Adarsha, again, who is working on, he's a PhD research scholar now, he's a junior scientist, and many more. I thank all the staff of my unit, and I thank, once again, I thank the Director of Fisheries for giving this opportunity to reach out to the end users and so for all support rendered to this unit in organizing this event. I thank each one of you for your contributions, and certificates will be sent to you through mail, and kindly fill the feedback and suggest us whatever you have the questions. Not all the questions were taken during the open house session. As Dr. C.K. Murthy said, you can, next 3 days, we will be waiting for your queries, questions, doubts, or inputs. All will be documented and it will be sent to you again for further decision making, or help the policymakers to take it forward. Thank you very much. This is all. We are signing off from this session. Take care of yourself. Next 15 days is very crucial, it seems. So take care. Follow the instruction of the competent authorities. Take care of your family. Be responsible. And let us hope things will be all right in another 15 days. Thank you very much.